Media, are we good to go? We are live. Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening for our audience right in the hall here at the Faculty of Social Sciences Lecture Theatre, University of Lagos, and any other person that is watching anywhere around the world. It's not just you that is seated at this hall right now that is here. We have a number of partner organizations and partner individuals that are watching around the globe or will watch around the globe later today. My name is Leonard Okunwaide, and I will be the host for today's event. I want to appreciate you guys for coming down here. I know sometimes the word market research might tend to be what I've been talking about, and that's what we are here to learn today. And I can tell you, we have amazing facilitators who are good and who are very strong when it comes to this idea, and they will do everything in their capability to make sure that you get everything you need to know about this career path. Maybe I think I'm going to have to dive into it a bit more, even though I have I was discussing with Mr. Victor the last time. I have a background in statistics, but I think I need to learn more about this, what this is concerned. I will want to introduce a number of people that have made today's possible, and I really want each and every one of us could jam our hands together. I know they are not too busy right now, apart from the water that is passing around. That's a sign of gesture that something great is coming. Right now, water the body. Let it, I like that smile. Your teeth must be 34, right? Or is it 32? Okay, she's still smiling. All right, I want to introduce the founder of Market Trends International, and before I forget, I want to make sure we understand that this project is brought together by ESOMAR Group and Market Trends International, which is their Nigerian branch, so to speak. So I will want to introduce the founder of Market Trends International on the person of Dr. J.O. Ebomeye. I forgot to add, I'll say Daddy Dr. J.O. Ebomeye. Thank you very much, sir, for giving us the opportunity to be here today and for founding this great organization that is transcending change and making sure that students and the corporate world get the things need to be done. And also, I will want to introduce one special man who is currently an MTI partner and works for LCCI, the director of LCCI, and that is Mr. Tony Moye. Look at him very well. I'm not saying look at him as sugar daddy. Look at him very well. Make sure you go and ask him about what LCCI does and how you can tap into that organization by the time you're done. Then I will also want to introduce one of our own and this very institution, administration, and that is Dr. Opala. Thank you very much for being here, sir. You can see from the banner, he's a chief. Sorry, let me take that again. Dr. Chief Opala. Because at the end of the day, when you don't have the chief, my pocket is not going to be full. All right. One other person, is she still in the building? Oh, she just stepped out. So we have the former HOD of the Department of Sociology here before. I think she stepped out to get some things done. That is Professor Franca Ato. And of course, we have one of your own in sociology, someone most of you know, and it's no other person. Let it clap, keep it going. So I will mention the name. The one and only Dr. Augustine Agugua. When you are good, you are good. Sir, if you contest for Councillor for UNILAG, you are going to win. As long as student is going to vote, you are going to win. All right. I don't know if the director of MTI is here yet. Okay. So in that case, I will have to do a reshuffle here. Dr. Agugua, you will have to step in for the school management representative as the director of MPI is not here, and I'm not sure Professor Adelaide Odukoya is here as well.
Also cut off with the Senate.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dr. Agugua and give us a welcome address.
Thank you, our able anchor person, in the person of let's just call him Leonard. He really operates like what that name represents. Leonard is in league with what's called the lion. Let's appreciate our anchor man. I'm here on a double-bind mission. And let me start by recognizing and appreciating the presence of the Market Trends International, especially from the chairman of the group, Dr. Joe Imawanye. He represents a phenomenon which I cherish so much, I appreciate so much, and I hope that journey will also resonate in other families. Because in him and in the organization, we see a kind of spectre, which I feel, as we are talking about the concept of work, what the concept of industry, and industry now moving to the next phase of post-industrialism, I feel that what he actually has set in motion should catch up with other entrepreneurs. So Dr. Joe, we appreciate you and welcome you to the University of Lagos. I have another special personality here. For good reason, we had cause to meet, our paths crossed, and in day our paths crossed, it's like our souls gelled. Am I complicated? Yes, we always have cause to appreciate each other's presence. And I'm not flattering him when I say that in any of the occasions I meet him, he always makes me feel overbloated in ego. I do not take that attitude and disposition for granted. I want to introduce into our midst here. He has been actually introduced to you, but just to make us understand that his presence here is very, very symbolic. And I'm sure MTI also appreciates it. That is the person of Dr. Moye. He is the director Director of Research and Advocacy. Two very unique assignments any human being can convert of Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industries. Mr. Dr. Moyen, I think I've had cause to extend your sentiments to the Dean of the Faculty. Today is a unique day for University of Lagos, not just for the students, but also for the academic staff. So every turn in different directions, you might still see them, strolling. Actually, the Dean requested for even if it is 2 minutes, he will be here, he will have a special discussion with you in respect of what you represent. We appreciate your presence today, Dr. Wani, and we hope that something positive will come out of it. Now, when I was talking about the chairman of MTI, I have reasons, because here I also want to especially recognize somebody I see as a symbol of what I pray for most of our youth. In the days when I started with media services, opposite Chief M.K. Uwabiola's house, one of the most destabilized Nigerians, when the man dabbled into politics, I was saying to my director then, this Alaba is too good to be involved in Nigerian politics. I hope we don't lose him. I said, no, but we get more these days. Right from the shores of Alabama, when what happened. My director then had cause to call me. That's Austin, I hope you are not a prophet of doom. Do you see what is happening? I said, yes, sir. It's not a case of prophecy. It's a case of premonitions. And I hope it doesn't end the way I feared it. So, what I see about MTI was what I actually hoped for Chief MKO's family. So as I have introduced the chairman, I have the pleasure also appreciating the presence of the executive director of MTI. An organization that is not just recognized in Nigeria, they are anchored and actually chaperoned from the shores of New York. So it's not just a family affair. From the genre of Dr. Ebomene, we now have another Victor Ebomene in the making. We appreciate your presence. So, ordinarily, if a movement that occurred here now had occurred barely 3 minutes ago, somebody would have taken up this assignment of talking on behalf of the dean, as well as on behalf of the coordinator, Masters in Public and International Affairs. I'm talking of no other person who is also going to be part of the panelists today. But as I handed me the mic, he stepped in quietly, modestly, and serenely, as is very, very peculiar to him as a person. The MC will still do the normal introduction, but my people used to say that when an enigma enters a certain, even the ocean must learn to do what? Pipe down and communicate with it. Yes. So ladies, gentlemen, and good people, before we do the formal introduction, I want you to appreciate the presence of your HOD in the person of Dr. Michael. Just be seated like all of you. So, on these notes, without erring on the side of brevity, ladies, gentlemen, and good people, I want to welcome all of us to this program on behalf of the Dean of the Faculty. This is supposed to be his role, and he had actually said it earlier on, told me where he was then, but as far as he's concerned, this project is like his baby. So whatever it is that is happening there, he will squeeze out time to make sure that he appreciates your presence. So I'm extending that sentiment, I'm extending that emotion, and I'm also extending that goodwill on his behalf, that as we are here, even if he's not here physically, he's with you in the spirit. On that note, ladies, gentlemen, and good people, without much ado, I welcome you once again to this program, and I promise you something very exciting, secretive, and very captivating. Mr. Anchorman, come and take up your assignment.
Thank you.
And continue where I stopped.
Thank you very much, Dr. Adoba. A round of applause for Dr. Adoba again, please. I was wondering that we are going to have a number of, please come, vocabularies. As we all know, when folks get the microphone, it's always that goes. Maybe he's saving it for the last because we still have a panel to moderate later on. So, according to my program that I have with me here, we are going next to know a little bit about Market Trends International, and that will be done by no other person, by my big brother, my friend from MTI, Mr. Arinze Odili. Please, let's give him a round of applause. Thank you.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, venerable guests here present, learned colleagues, academic staff and students of the highly prestigious University of Lagos Akoka, all protocols duly observed. Good morning, everyone. Rightly said, I'm Arinze Odili. I'm actually a senior research executive at Market Trends International. An organization, a market and social research organization that has been offering qualitative and quantitative research services to its esteemed clients for the past 35 to 36 years. We have actually applied our trade in Nigeria and across the African continent in the different sectors. So healthcare, the FMCG, the educational sector, politics, agriculture, and then financial services. So we basically touch on the sectors, different sectors in Nigeria and in Africa. We are also active members for the European Society for Opinion and Market Research, ESOMAR, who are part organizers of this event. And we have here, as we have been introduced, senior management executives and staff of Market Trends International. So allow me to do the honor of introducing once again founder, president, chief executive officer of Market Trends International, Dr. Josiah Ekome. You're most highly welcome, sir. Please, a round of applause. We also have here present, as earlier introduced, our executive director, a man groomed in experience and man in research enterprise. Please allow me to introduce once again Mr. Victor Ekome. You're most welcome, sir. We also have our data lead here present with us, Ms. Jenna Ugogu Otogenetejiri. You're most welcome. Also, our head of IT is here present, Mr. Joseph Adveja. You're most welcome, Joseph. And we also have our head of administrative duties, but I think she's outside the registration process, Ms. Victoria Colley. So, to make this short, because we don't have time without further ado, I will just remind us that the research enterprise is a human enterprise, and why we see that is, in the right sense of the word, we are all researchers. We take information, or we use information to take smart decisions. And in a similar vein, the corporate world, the business world, needs informed decision making. So it's in their need for researchers everywhere. So I will endear you rather, to listen, learn, and take to heart the proceeds of this lecture and put them to your daily life, and most especially, use them to prepare for the corporate world that lies ahead. Thank you, and have a splendid time.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Arinze, for that short and precise. Thank you very much, Mr. Odele. Right now, I would love for the HOD of the Department of Faculty of Department. I'm losing it gradually.
Department of Sociology.
Okay, you know when you've gone out of school for a while, you start losing the trends. The HOD of the Department of Sociology, please give me a round of applause. It's coming. The young and elected HOD of the Department of Sociology, Dr. Colonel J. Yes, what do you perform? Thank you. So that I can use that for you to just step on the stage. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to dive into it proper. What is market research? How can market research be turned into a career? What is research in itself? What is data? Oh, you might know. Data. But how do you turn it into something profitable? Something that you can turn a career out of? There is the perfect person to discuss that with us today. He's driven by data, his life is driven by data, everything he does is driven by data. Like we all do, but he takes his own a bit notch into the front. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome with me the Executive Director of Market Trends International in the person of Mr. Victor Ebomeye.
Yes, can you hear me? Yes, fine. Sorry, let me correct a notion that Leonard said. My life is not driven by data, it's driven by money. It's money I want. It's data that brings the money. So, I think with no further introductions, my name is Victor Ebomeye, the Executive Director of Market Trends International. It's a pleasure to be here today. I did not expect to see so many beautiful faces, but I'm happy that we're all here today to learn about building market research as a career path. And the way I like to do my conversations, or the way I like to do my lectures, is I like it to be interactive. So I would like, at the course of the presentation, I would like to hear more from you, what your name is, what career path you want to get into, etc. Are we all clear on that? No, I'm no energy. Are we all clear on that? Yes. Thank you very much. I need more energy. I'm no dull moment, right? That's how I am. Energy. Okay? So it says building market research as a career path, an applied perspective. Presentation by me, my humble self, and I'm the Executive Director of Market Trends Research International, Market Trends International. How do you move this? I think somebody has to sit down there. Yeah? So let's start by making it very interactive. The first question is, what is your career path? I believe everybody here are all final year students. Am I correct? No. So some people here are first year students? Yes. Interesting. It's even better. I can say that the first year students are this way, right? First year students, okay, fantastic. So it's even better. So if we have first year students, second, third year, it gives you time to be able to plan what career path you want. The first year students, please, can anybody there tell me, what is your career path? What career path you want to go into? The lady in pink or yellow? Yes, you. Tell us your name and what career path you want to get into. Your name is?
Thompson.
Nice to meet you, Thompson.
Yeah.
And what career path do you want to get into?
Social worker.
Social worker. What does a social worker do? Okay, so please, surprise, tell us what your name is and what career path. She said social worker, let's remember that. What career path you want to get into? If, Joseph, if you can put somebody there, it's not working. No, look at her there, look at her. She's hiding, don't worry, I can see her there. Surprise, the lady wearing surprise in the shirt.
Ah, okay.
Yes, your name and what your career path is.
My name is Nadia.
Sorry, what year are you in?
Year 1. SDA 1.
1, okay, go on.
My name is Aliyah.
Your name is?
Aliyah.
Aliyah, nice to meet you, Aliyah. What's your career path? You've not decided yet. Where is a final year student, please? Final year? No final year students. Third year? Third year, yes. So I'm sure the third year students. Okay. What is your name and what career path you want to get into?
Good morning, everyone. My name is Precious Uzigbe.
Your name is what?
Precious Uzigbe.
Precious. Okay. Precious.
I'm a final year student of accounting department. I'd like to be the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Nice. You will be the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. I like to speak by faith. Thank you very much. So we have one person who wants to be sociology, wants to enter the sociology industry, and we have another person who wants to be the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. Wow, fantastic. Precious. You will be the CBN governor. Inshallah. So what I'm trying to bring out is, you see, from one person who wants to be a sociologist and another person who wants to be a CBN governor, would you be surprised to tell you that both persons need market research? Both persons need market research. There is no industry that you are going to mention to me now that you are going to go into that does not need market research. You are the central bank of this thing, you are the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, and you see dollar is at what? Well, dollar is 1.5 today, Abi? Or is it 2,000 now? But whatever dollar is, it's a problem for you as a CBN governor. You want dollar to be 1 naira to a dollar as a governor. You want to find out why. What are the market factors making the dollar go up to that level? You need to know why. It's not going to be in the sky. People have the answers. You need to find out why. That is market research in a layman's term. That is what market research is. That is what we do as a business. So, take it back. Take it back to the beginning. So let's go, now that I've explained to you what market research means in a layman's terms, let me give you the academic definition of market research. So the key thing I want you to take away from that definition is systematic. Systematic. It's very important. What I'm trying to say is, market research has been in existence, let's say, since the 70s or since the 60s. But would you believe that the same processes, the same approach they've been using since the 60s is the same approach they're still using to today? The only difference is the advancement of technology. That is the only difference. But the processes, the systems, everything remains the same from the first day they started market research. So that thing is very key, systematic. So if you see somebody doing market research and he's not following the system, he's not doing market research. He's just doing his own, right? So the definition says, this market research, the systematic and objective identification, collection, analysis, dissemination, and the use of information for purpose of improving decision-making, targeted at identifying and solution of problems and opportunity in business and marketing. So basically, market research is using a systematic approach to collect information, right? Is that understandable? So, next slide. So, the classification of market research. So, we did say market research is used to collect information, but what types of information do we have out there? We have two types. We have problem identification information, and we have problem solution information, but there it says research. Then under those types of data you want to collect, these are the types of research you can do to get the information. So we have market potential, market share, market imaging for problem solving. Then for problem solution, we have segmentation, product research, pricing, promotion. So depending on the information you are looking for, you determine the type of research that you do. Move on to the next slide. So furthermore, types of market research. So we have qualitative market research and we have quantitative market research. So at the course of my presentation, I'm going to go further into what qualitative and quantitative means. But for now, let's just look at the categories of research under each of those categories. That is qualitative and quantitative. So qualitative, we have in-depth interviews, we have focus groups, we have ethnography, mystery shopping, etc. Then quantitative is online survey, face-to-face, and the system is about to go up. So, but why that is being sorted out? So the difference between qualitative and quantitative is one aspect of the data is you need to speak to a small number of people. That is a classification of the data. For qualitative, you speak to a small amount of people. For quantitative, you speak to a large amount of people. There are different other differences between them as well. A qualitative is when you have no information at all. You just want to start the research, so you want to get an insight. You want to get something to help you start. That is when you do qualitative. Quantitative is you want to measure the findings that you get in your quantitative. It's a whole circle, but you get it as I go on. So next slide. So now we're moving to the first steps, the 6 steps of market research. Remember in the beginning I said market research is what? Can somebody remind me? No, sorry, young man. I said market research is what? Can anybody? Market research is what? Systematic. Seems like it's only the first years that are listening. Okay. So market research is a systematic approach. You use systematic approach. So what that means is that the systems have never changed. And these are the systems here, the 6 steps in market research. So we have the first one, which is the problem definition. The second one, which is the approach to the problem. The third one is research, design, formulation. Then field work, collecting data preparation and analysis, then presentation of findings. So you don't even have to be working in a market research organization. As long as you follow these processes, you are a market researcher, I should say. So it's self-explanatory. Problem definition, right? You find the problem, you develop the approach. Okay, this is the problem. How do I solve this problem? That is what this is saying. Then when you say, okay, how do I solve the problem? What tools do I need to collect the information? That is what you design here. And here you collect the information. Here, once the information is collected, you arrange and clean your data and analyze. Then you do your reports. So those are the 6 steps. It never changes. Never changed. The only thing that has changed is the advancement of technology, as I said. So you move forward. So this is just illustrating the problem definition stage. So it says to commence a market research project, you must begin by defining the problem, understanding the objectives/purpose of the study, finding out what the scope is. Once the problem has been properly defined, a suitable approach towards the problem can be developed, as well as the formulation of an accurate research design. So what I have to state is, these slides are more academia. So because when you are in the industry, most times when the client comes to you already, they've already found what the problem is. They already know what the problem is. Sometimes they've even developed the approach to the problem. They just want you to design and collect the information most times, right? Except you're dealing with the end client directly. So the next slide. So this is just a simple illustration of when you need market research. So it says a store owner visits his friend who happens to be a market researcher out for a lunch, and this conversation began or ensued. So the store owner says, I have seen a decline in the patronage of our sales. And the market researcher says, how did you know that? The store owner replies by saying, well, it is reflected in our sales and market share. And the market researcher replies by saying, why do you think patronage declines? The store owner says, if I knew, I wouldn't be talking to you now, Abi. Then the market researcher says, right, how about competition? Then the store owner says, I think we are better than them on some factors and worse on other factors. Then the market researcher replies, how do competitors view your store? And the store owner says, I can say most view it positively, although we might have weak areas. So that is, move forward to the next slide. So that is a sort of conversation that can happen between you, who owns the company, and a market researcher. Then it says, what was derived from the conversation? Decline in sales, right? Decline in patronage is clearly reflected in the sales and market share. You need to know why patronage is low. That is the owner of the company. I need to know. And funny enough, most times when you do your research, you find out that the things that is causing this is just little problems. Little problems. Maybe the way your staff is talking to the people at the front desk. Just little things. But you don't know. Once you don't know, you don't know. Right? So it says these observations will be complied in the research/client group complied. So basically what this is saying is, once this conversation has been done, you will now be sent a brief of the problem. Then you now have to develop the designs and do the approach and get your findings for the client. The next slide. So it says once client brief is received, market researcher begins to search for the background of the problem, performing desk research, and analyze the secondary data, engage in discussion with the decision makers, scouting for opinions of industry experts and other knowledgeable individuals. So basically, that is sort of the steps you will take once you get a research brief from the client. The first thing is to first understand better about what you want to solve, right? That's why they say market researchers are one of the most intelligent people you will ever meet. Because most market researchers have done studies across the board, across the major industries in Nigeria and in the world at large. The next slide. So the problem two. Sorry, step two is the approach, problem approach. So what approach do you have to the problem? They said defining and understanding the problem automatically leads to developing a suitable approach to solving the problem. Self-explanatory. Components of problem approach includes objective and thematic framework, analytical model, research questions, hypothesis statement, specification of information needed. This would aid the design of research programs in terms of appropriate methodology, target respondents, sampling size, data collection, etc. I'm sure some of those words are strange, right, to us, but as we go further down, we would deep dive into them. So next slide. So now we are straight to the research design. So we said we have 6 steps, right? We have the problem identification, problem, developing the approach, then the design. Yes. So my young lady at the back, can you tell me what the 4th step is? Thank God you that you came back. We want with the love and a share. What's the 4th step? After you design, what do you do after that? Do you have the answer? Sorry? She has the mic. So once you design, what's the next step after design? Field work, she got it correct. Please put a hand on applause for her, please. So I believe that you're in the Gen Z sport. You people know how to multitask. You can be on your phone and be listening. Well done. So research design is the next stage of. So here it says this step involves the design of framework/blueprint for conducting the market research project. The detailed procedure, intended methodology, sample size, questionnaire/discussion guide, design, and data collection techniques. Move to the next slide. So it says the components of research design. A research design is a framework / blueprint for solving the market research problem. As it details necessary procedures for obtaining needed information. Research design components include defining definition of needed information and means to acquiring such information. So remember I said that in the beginning. I said the type of mode you use, it determines the type of information you want to collect, it determines the type of mode you will use, which is the qualitative and the quantitative. We'll get there, we're almost there. So the specific scope of work is the methodology, the target sample size, sample procedure, measuring instruments, data collection techniques, data analysis plan. Next slide. So this is the classification of the market research design. So now we have the exploratory research design and we have the conclusive research design. And under the conclusive research design, we have the descriptive and the casual research design. So let me explain further what these ones are. So the exploratory research, you see, it's the qualitative research. So exploratory is more self-explanatory. When you are exploring, right? Exploring means you are just starting. You want to find out what's going on. That is exploratory. And when you want to find out what's going on, there's no need for you to speak to more than 5, 10 people. Sometimes 10 people is a lot. Just to get a basis of what's going on. I need to know what's going on. Let me speak to a few number of people, right? That is what that means. But it's just like now saying in this hall now, I speak to 5 people in this hall. Then I'll now start to say the entire UNILAG said. It doesn't make sense. How can 5 people in this hall represent the entire UNILAG? It's not possible. That is what conclusive is trying to say, right? So I start basically, I say, okay, let me speak to, I want to know how the school administrations treat the students. I speak to 5 people here. 3 people say they treat me bad. 2 people say they treat me good. So because of from 5 people, I'll now say the school administration treats the student bad, then it doesn't make sense. Nobody's going to listen to that. But if I want to now emphasize on that and say, okay, to make sure that what these 3 people have said is correct, I speak to 2,000 other people across University of Lagos to find out if, you know, what they said is actually, what those 3 people said is actually how everybody else in UNILAG feels. Then when you get that information, you can now conclude and say, okay, I believe that the administration don't treat the students well or they treat the students well, whichever the case may be. So that is what this is saying, right? And under that conclusive, where you speak to a large amount of people, it's now classified into 2, which is the descriptive and the casual research. So what is descriptive and what is casual? Basically, casual is experimental research. Experimental research is basically when you put A and B together and say, what is, okay, let me put A without food. Let me put B, or okay, let me give A only rice to eat for 1 week. Let me give B only beans to eat for 1 week. Let me see how 2 of them react, who don't match best. That is what experimental research is. Then descriptive is the opposite of experimental, which is you're just collecting numbers. There's no testing, you're not testing anything. So that experimental is usually done by the actual scientist, right? So that is not where we're going to dwell on now. So the descriptive is where we're going to dwell on. And on the descriptive, we have cross-sectional and we have longitudinal. In the cross-sectional is just one research. I want to know how the students of UNILAG feel, just one research. So, but now, the longitudinal is, I want to know how the students of UNILAG feel over time. Okay, I just found out what they felt in February, but I want to find out what they felt in February, March, June, July, like that. So is the descriptive research being continuously done? That is what that is. So you move to the next, and please, I know that the way I explain very graphically, but if you don't understand, feel free to stop me. So, difference between exploratory and conclusive research design. Objective-wise, exploratory provides insight and understanding, right? Because it's just small information you want to collect, so you want to understand something. Then the conclusive is to test for specific hypotheses and exact relationship, which is what I said in that first one when I said the students of UNILAG said, so that's already an hypothesis. So I want to test those ones across the larger sample. Then the characteristics, information needed is defined loosely. Research process is flexible, unstructured, sample is small and non-representative, data analysis is qualitative. Then for the conclusive, information needed is defined clearly, research purpose is formal and structured, sample is large and representative, and data analysis is quantitative. It's self-explanatory, right? Information is needed, so what I've said, you don't know what you're looking for, right? So it's defined initially. But the other one, you know what you're looking for, it's clearly defined, but you just want to measure. Then the findings and the results. One is tentative. I don't know, just 5 people, I can't say, right? But conclusive, 2,000 people, I can surely say with a margin of error, right? Because some people will say, how will you speak to 2,000 people when we have like 100,000 people in UNILAG? But there's something in statistics that gives you a margin of error based on the amount of people that you speak to. We'll get to that in sampling. And the outcome, generally followed by further exploratory research or conclusive research. Then findings are directly put into, that's for conclusive, findings are directly put into decision making. So this is a bit academic, right? Because when you find out what the people, you speak to 5 people and they say, okay, this is how I feel about UNILAG, then you speak to a large amount of people and you get your findings. There might be something within that large findings that you still want to talk to 2 or 3 or 4 other people again to find out if what these 2,000 people have said is actually valid. You cannot speak to them again using a qualitative and do a quantitative. So it depends on what you are looking for and when you want the study to end and the amount of money that you have as well. So you move to the next slide. Is the next slide? Yes, okay. So I think it goes on, say compare, okay, now you are comparing between exploratory, descriptive, and casual, which is experimental research. So one is discovery of ideas and insights, the other is describe the market and characteristics of function, then casual is to determine cause and effect relationship, which is what I said. You put 2 things aside and you test. Then another one is flexibility and is versatile. Descriptive is mapped by prior formulation of specific hypotheses. Then casual is manipulation of one or more individual variables, which is what I said. You give one rice, you give one beans. So you're manipulating how their digestive system works. Then the other one is research design, pre-planned and structured design. And the last, casual, is measure the effects of dependent variables, control or other mitigation variables. Then the last one is expert surveys. So these are the type of surveys basically you can do in exploratory. Expert surveys, pilot survey, case study, secondary data, qualitative analysis. Then for descriptive, you have secondary data, quantitative analysis, survey, panel, observation, etc. And for casual, as I said, it's for scientists, so it's only experiments you can do under casual. Next slide, please. So how to select a suitable research design? How do you know which design is best suited for your research? So, young man, yes, yes. So if you want to speak to, let's say, 5 people, or you want to speak to 10 people, what type of research would you do? Yes, you want to speak to like 5 or 10 people, what type of research would you do? Because it says how to select a suitable research design. So we have the qualitative and we have the quantitative, right? Yeah? Qualitative, well done, thank you. So it seems like you guys are listening. Your head is down, but you are listening. Okay. So when choosing an appropriate research design for a project, a market researcher should consider the following: the statement of the problem, the specific hypothesis, the scope of work, and the detailed information needed. Next slide. Points to note about exploratory research. When little is known about the problem situation, it is desirable to begin with exploratory research, especially when the problem needs to be defined more loosely. So you see what that is saying. It's saying when you don't know what the problem is, you don't know what is going on about this particular industry you are going into, the first thing you should do is a qualitative research. Then it says exploratory research is the initial step in overall research design framework and should be in most cases followed by a descriptive or a casual research. It is necessary to begin every research design with exploratory research. This will depend on the precision with which problem is defined. Exploratory research needs to be the initial step. It can also follow descriptive or casual. Okay, next slide. Then it says qualitative versus quantitative research design. So basically, qualitative research provides insight and understanding of the problem setting, while quantitative seeks to quantify the data and apply some form of statistical analysis. So this slide are just giving you further explanation to what we've already said, giving you deep dive. Because remember in the beginning I said we'll deep dive into all these issues. So we have the objectives, the qualitative and quantitative. What is the difference vis-a-vis each approach? So one is to gain a qualitative understanding of the underlying reasons and motivation. Then the other one, quantitative, is to quantify data. That is 60% said this, 40% said this, and generalize the result from sample to the population of interest. Another index is the sample. It's small, it's usually small. Qualitative is usually small number, as I said, and quant is usually in large number, as I've said. Then the data analysis for quantitative is non-statistical. So because you just speak to 5 or 6 people, you cannot say, oh, 60% said this, 40% said this. No. Other than doing that, you would have to now do a content analysis of what the 5 people have said to now generalize your findings. So we also have the statistics. So for quantitative, it's statistics in the sense that you say 50% got this, 60% got that. Then the outcome, one, the qualitative is to develop an initial understanding, and the quantitative is to recommend a final course of action. Next slide. So we're at step 4. We're already there. We're getting 2 more steps. So it says this 4th step is highly practical and constitutes the, I didn't see it like this. Constitutes the core of any research endeavor. Some of these features include data collection techniques, choice of measuring instruments, target sampling recruitment, daily qualitative control checks, selection, training, supervision, and evaluation of officers on the field. Next slide. So now, this is one of the data collection methods that we have, that we mentioned in the beginning, which is focus group discussion. So we're just going to dwell a bit on focus group discussion. Focus group discussion is when you have 1 or more people seated on a round table and you have a moderator. So it's more like a panel session, but a panel session is to informate, right? But this type of session is to gather data for a problem. So that is what this is saying. So what this is saying basically is that you can have up to 8 to 12, right? Once again, this is academic, because now in the industry you can have 2, you can have 3, you can have 4, 6, like that. But the academic says 8 to 12, which is the standard. That's the standard. Then the duration of the focus group is within 1 to 3 hours, right? So it can be 1, it can be 2, it can be 3, depending on how many people you have in the group, how much they are talking, etc. So you move to the next slide. So the merit of focus group is synergy, because you have a lot of people, you are speaking with a lot of people, so you know that, okay, I can rub off this person's energy, which is also a bad thing as well, because if people are quiet, you should rub off that energy as well. So that's what that is saying. Then snowball technique just means referral. So what this person is saying, oh, what Precious said, I want to reference from that. That's what I say. It makes the conversation more easy for you because you know you're snowballing. Then simulation, right? In the sense whereby it usually affects the benefit introduction, response express the idea. So you can simulate, you can see people's feelings. So it's more like, okay, I'm seeing you, I can interact with you, and basically that's what it is. security as well. What this means is due to the fact that respondents are similar to those of other groups, they are willing to express their ideas freely. So what that is saying is when you are doing a focus group, don't go and put a mother that has 2 kids with teenagers. Because when the mother is talking, the teenagers will not talk. Right? Let's just say you're talking about sex, or you're talking about smoking or something that adults are not supposed to hear. You've already lost already. Nobody's going to talk. So that is what that is saying. Make sure that everybody is in the same class that you put together so that they feel free to express themselves. Then it says ideas are more likely to arise. Okay, that's more like spontaneity as well. Move to the next slide. So this is the demerits of focus group. It can be misused in the sense that focus group can be misused or abused by considering the results as conclusive rather than exploratory. So you will now be saying, oh, the people in UNILAG said that the administration treated me well because you only spoke to 5 people. You've already concluded. That's what that is saying. This might. That's what that is saying. Then misjudge focus group can be more easily misjudged than the results of other data collection. Highly prone to crimes and research bias. Then moderation, focus groups are difficult to moderate. Moderators will desire skills are rare. Moderators skills are rare. Quality of results depends heavily on monitor skills. So the person who's going to moderate, I'm sure that you see what Pastor Prof. Dr. Abuga will do during the panel session. Yeah, Pastor, yeah, right. But you see that it's not easy. It's not easy to moderate. So that is what he's saying. There are not a lot of skilled moderators, because the thing about moderation is some people don't know how to carry the conversation. Some people want their opinions to be heard. As a moderator, you are not supposed to have any opinion. Keep your opinion to yourself. You're just supposed to flow the conversation, let the conversation flow. But some people make a mistake. You want to say, oh yes, that's true. Even when I was talking to my dad yesterday, he said this thing as well. Nobody wants to hear. Nobody cares. Right? So, and it's also messy. The unstructured nature of responses make coding, analysis, and interpretation difficult. That's self-explanatory. Then misrepresentation, focus group results are not representative of the general population due to its sample size and are not projectable, hence should not be the source of basis for decision making. So do not say, oh, I want to change my faculty because 3 people said this and 2 people said this. You're on your own. You've not spoken to 2,000 people to confirm what you are saying. That is what that is saying. So it says application of focus group in market research. Used to understand customers' perception, preference, and behavior regarding a product category. Used to obtain impressions on new product concepts. Used to generalize ideas about older products. Used to develop creative concepts and copy material for advertisements. Used to secure price impressions and used to obtain primary consumer reaction to specific market programs. So this is just the type of things you use market research, qualitative research for. Then you see we have online and visual focus group discussion. So this is a new phenomenon in the industry. This is new, right? It's been around for a long time, since the advancement of the internet, but this became popular in the COVID era, when nobody could come outside, but you still had to run a business. So this became a popular thing. So it's just the same thing physically, but online. So just imagine 6 people online, 5 the moderators, 5 the respondents, 1 the moderator, but they're on Zoom. That is what this is saying. But in Nigeria, we have a serious issue with this particular methodology now because of the internet connectivity. But we try to find a way to wiggle around it. So that is what this is saying. So it says, as in the case with traditional focus group, online focus group participation is strictly by invitation. Fewer people are allowed in an online focus group than in face-to-face meeting. It says fewer people are allowed in an online. So that is in the sense that the internet connectivity again. So move to the next. Yes. So qualitative data collection, IDI. So we've spoken about focus group. Focus group is when you speak to a multiple amount of people, but an IDI is when you speak. Take it back to the image. Please wait for me, please. IDI is when you speak to one person at a time. one-to-one. So the basis of an IDI compared to a focus group is, you might have some sensitive topics to talk about, right? Maybe you want to talk about child mortality or miscarriage. A lot of people don't like talking about miscarriage, things like that. So you can't gather, a group of women and start talking about miscarriage. Nobody's going to answer you. So it's better to just have that one-on-one conversation with that person, which is what this technique is about, but it's still under the qualitative approach. Then move forward. So it says IDI is another method of obtaining qualitative information. It's an unstructured, direct, and personal manner. So it's 30 to 45 minutes because you're speaking to only one person, so you're not speaking to multiple people. It doesn't take as long. Then it says usually conducted on a one-on-one basis. I've mentioned this. It's a true guided by a discussion guide. Although guided by a discussion guide, interviewers can follow a rough outline in specific wordings of questions and in line with the respondent's reply. So basically, you flow with the respondent. That's what that is saying. Next one. So characteristics. Yeah, that's the next one. Okay. So techniques in IDI. So basically, these are just some techniques you use to do your interviews when you are the moderator. So you have the probing, you have hidden issues questioning, and you have symbolic analysis. So probing is when you say, okay, somebody says, I went to school. You want to know more. Why did you go to school? The person tells you, say, why did you? That is what. So just making ladders from that. Then it says the hidden questioning issue here, focus is not socially shared values or generally lifestyle, but on personal source thoughts and deeply felt personal concerns. Then the symbolic analysis, this is an attempt to analyze the symbol meaning of objects by comparing them with their opposites. To learn what something is, a researcher has to learn what it is not. The next slide. Application for DID, that is in-depth interview. So you have detailed probing of respondents, discussion of confidential, sensitive, and seemingly embarrassing topics. So basically what this is saying is why you use IDI. So it says situation where strong social norms exist and respondents may be easily swayed by group responses. So when you know, like the attitude of you towards smoking, so when you know you're talking about something that people will not want to say with their mind, and it says detailed understanding of complicated behaviors, store, shopping. Then we have interviews with professional people, that is business people, CEOs, owners of companies that you know you cannot put on a group. Then we have interviews with competitors who are likely to review information in a group setting. The same thing, situations where product consumption experience is sensitive in nature, affecting mood, state, and emotion. Perfume, body soap, etc. Next slide. So the merits of IDIs, which is the advantages. IDIs can uncover, gather deep insights than focus group, because you're talking to one person, so you can always get that information better. The person will be freer to speak. Then the opposite is skilled interviewers are usually expensive and difficult to find. That's the dismerit of it. Then the merit is responses are attributed directly to respondents, unlike focus group, where it is often difficult to find which respondent made a particular response. Then demerit, lack of structure, makes response from IDI prone to interviewers' influence, and the quality and completeness of the results depend heavily on interviewers' skills. Then the last one is IDI results in free exchange of information that may be possible in focus group that may not be possible in focus group due to the lack of social pressure or conformity to group. Then it says details from IDI are focus group analysis, the length of interviews coupled with high cost means that number of interviews will not be much. Next slide. So we have qualitative research, the survey method. It says that earlier hinted, the main goal of qualitative research is to quantify data and generalize from a sample of population of interest, which is what I said in the beginning. So it says survey method is commonly used quantitative technique and is based on questioning of respondents, though roughly segmented into B2B surveys, B2C surveys, and tracking surveys, online surveys, etc. It is a method of obtaining information in which respondents are asked a variety of questions regarding their behavior, intention, attitude, awareness, motivation, demographics, and lifestyle characteristics. Next slide. So the characteristics of survey basically is questioning a typical structure. Thought is allowed open-ended. So you're allowed to do open-ended questions. Then you have a structured. So in a sense, when you say structured, basically it's saying A, B, C, multiple options. That is what that is saying. Then it says, so you know, for the qualitative, it's open questions. You're asking them what they feel. But this is more, okay, what do you feel? You have answer A, answer B, answer C, answer D. That is what that is saying. Then you move to the next slide. So this is the merits and dismerits of the survey method, which is under quantitative. So the merits is that it's simple to administer because it's just A, B, A, B, A, B, A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D. Then the dismerits is respondents may be unable or unwilling to provide desired information or accurate answer that aren't among the response set given. Then another merit for survey is data obtained are reliable and response limited to the alternative state. Then that says might result in loss of validity for certain types of data, unwillingness to respond to sensitive data, and personal information. Then finally, it says the use of fixed response reduces verification in response, make coding, analysis, and interpretation of data relatively simple, and limits bias caused by the difference in interviewer. So I think that's self-explanatory because they are using the same options. So when you want to analyze the data, it's easy for you to analyze. They said difficulty in wording questions. Next slide. Then we're almost there. So it says typical survey methods is telephone interviews. That's when you use telephone to collect the interviews. Then we have face-to-face, where you use face-to-face to collect the interviews. Then you have mailing interviews. I don't think this exists again in Nigeria, right? During the days of my chairman, this was a very popular approach, but I don't think, because mailing service doesn't work again in Nigeria. So, but that is also done as well. Then we have electronic interviews, which is like you send emails to people. Then we have street interception, in-home interception, and in abroad they have in-mall interception, where you meet people in the mall. So what he says is street interception, I just see you on the street, I meet you. Home interception, I see you in your home, I meet you. That's what that is saying. Then the next slide. Sampling. So basically, let me explain this sampling for you. I like to use an analogy to explain this sampling. Sampling is basically when you're cooking, the females can relate more with me. When you're cooking a pot of soup, if you are cooking a pot of soup now, and you take a spoon of it to have a taste, right? You have not tasted the entire soup, but from just that spoon of taste you have, or from that spoon that you tasted, you can have a feel of how the entire pot is going to taste like. That is basically what sampling is about. Taking a small sample of the population to be able to gauge what the entire population will say. So you can move forward. So it says sampling techniques. You have sampling techniques, probability sampling techniques, and non-probability sampling techniques. So probability sampling techniques are techniques where you select your respondents without knowing how you are going to select or without knowing who you pick. Then the non-probability sampling technique is more like, okay, you know who you are going to pick. So you have different sorts of sampling techniques: simple, random, stratified, systematic, cluster sampling, multi-stage, etc. The same thing for non-probability. So the definitions differ in terms of methodology that you use. I think we already mentioned this already. Snowball sampling is when you reference, oh, I want to talk to somebody that has car. Oh, I want to talk to somebody that has car. That is what snowball sampling is. So move forward. So data, as I said, we're almost there. So we're in the fifth stage of the data process. Then, move forward. So the data preparation and analysis for qualitative data and data cleaning process comprises of editing, coding, and verifying the data. So for qualitative, the data process involves transcription of audio files and review. So what this is saying is when you do a focus group or you do an IDI, you have to record the conversation. When you record the conversation, you now transcribe it. You transcribe it, then from that transcription, you can now collect the information. That is what this is saying. Then it says during coding, numbers or letters are assigned to representatives. Each response to each question on the questionnaire, discussion guide, or other data collection instrument. Move forward. So these are the types of data that we have. We have the secondary data and we have the primary data. So secondary data is the data that already exists. So what I mean by that is data that is already online, right? So it's someone you can go and search like Wikipedia, all those things. That's secondary data. And primary data is the data that you collect through market research, right? Then under primary data you have qualitative and quantitative, which is what we've already gone through. Then under quantitative you have descriptive and casual, which is what we've already gone through. So move forward. So the analysis of qualitative data is what I explained earlier is content analysis. So you carry what people have said and you make a analysis of it. And with the advancement of AI, like the use of ChatGPT, so many other software, it has made this process seamless. So you can just do your content analysis, you put it on ChatGPT, and within a minute or so, you have your content analyzed, right? So it will now be your responsibility to now write the report to the content. So move forward. So it says steps in analyzing qualitative data. So you reduce data reduction, data coding, data display, conclusion, drawing, and verification, right? So that's are the steps once you get your information from the field, those are the particular steps you follow. And remember I did say in the beginning, I said research is a very systematic industry. So it's very important that step 1, 2, and 3, and 4 of this analysis of data is followed. Very important. Move forward. So we have systematic analysis of quantitative data, right? So you can see that all these places are colored red. So what this means, why these places are colored red is those statistics are more done by statisticians. This means median, mode, range, forecasting is more done by statisticians. That's why they are in red. The main ones that are done by the market research industry are those two that you see there. Cross tabulation, frequency count, and percentage. That is what we use in the business of market research. Every other one is done by statisticians. We move forward. Then it says statistics technique used in market research. Though both descriptive and inferential statistics are important in data analysis, descriptive is the most often used statistical technique in market research, market and social research, which is what I just explained. Then as a frequency count and percentage, frequency count / percentage, cross tabulation are the widely used statistics in analyzing market research data, which I just mentioned. So this is due to the fact that descriptive statistics is sufficient in answering market research questions unless stated otherwise. Next slide. So this is the last part of it. The last but the very most important part of it, right? Because when you collect your data, you have to put some quality control procedures in place. You cannot just go to the field and collect your data and say, well, I've collected data. What is the quality control procedures you put? How do I know that somebody did not just go and fill it in their house? So those processes have to be put in place to make sure that the quality of your data is very high. So for the qualitative, we have different approaches that we use, and for the quantitative, we have different approaches that we use. And there are more approaches now on the quantitative phase because of the advancement of technology. There are a lot of other things that we can do, like putting timestamp, a lot, to make sure that the quality of your information is high. Because what we experience in Nigeria, not just Nigeria, and across the world when it comes to research, cheating is you cannot avoid cheating. You'll be surprised, even somebody from London, white skin, said they cheat for research. But it's just that in Nigeria, it is more rampant. You have more people cheating in research than abroad, but they cheat everywhere. Right? So you just have to put procedures in place to make sure that the people who are paying money to collect this information don't cheat you. So that is what this is saying, right? So for the ones who are taking notes, I see the ones who are taking notes, the things I don't emphasize on, you can meet me later, right? Because I can see that you Gen Zs have a low attention span, right? So you move to the next slide. So I think this is the last one for report, because this is the last step for market research. So after you've found the problem, you develop the approach. After developing the approach, you do the design. After the design, you collect the information. After collecting, you do your analysis. Then after your analysis, you now do your report. So this is the final step, the report. So this is just basically giving you a layout of how your report should be when you are done with your work, right? So it's self-explanatory. You have the title page, table of content, executive summary, introduction, objectives of the research, methodology, analysis and findings in line with study objectives, very important, actionable insights. Then you have the hard-up findings. Then you have the challenges in the course of the research. Then you have your conclusion, summary, and recommendation of the project. Then you now have your appendix, any other thing. Next slide. Stop here. So at this point, I'll take my bow.
Very much, Mr. Victor, for the. So, let me turn off the mic from him. Thank you very much. Okay, so right about now we want to take 5 minutes for anybody that wants to go and ease themselves. Oh, we should not take that. Okay. So I was told, and with the look of things on the face of everybody, it seems you don't want to take a pee. Mr. Victor had glued everybody's bum to the seats. Okay, we want to call on Mr. Tony. Mr. Tony Moye, for his discussion, is going to take about 10 minutes. Miracle, bring the mic. The other one is not working, so they bring the second one. Check.
Let me start by asking this grand audience to give Mr. Victor another round of applause. There's a particular reason why I asked for that, and I'm happy that it was quite good. I work as the research director
in the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry. I studied economics. I'm an economist. So what he gave life to, the processes, the procedure, a lot of the things he highlighted are things we do in my department. It was like coming to the classroom again to see what new things would be, and I saw a few new things. Thank you so much for that presentation. My discussion will be more on like finding your pathway in terms of career. But before I go, I'd like to say that when I saw the head of the Department of Sociology, I thought it was a final year student in high school right in there. So I'm particularly sorry for that as well. Yeah. But these are people who started quite early. And besides, somebody else did say that, I think the MC, he was trying to make you people feel that I'm such a very old person. But I'm not that old. I'm about 25. Yeah, 25. Yeah. So I may be slightly ability, depending on how you look at it. But importantly, let's not forget the fact that this topic, one word I like about it, you know one thing they say about the word, right? They say it's enough for the wildlife. The word is enough for the wild. Okay, I will provide you the meaning of that. The word is yes, no. Why would that be enough for the wild? Come, go. Why would that be enough for the wild? Have you ever thought about it that way? For me, in this topic, the most important word for me is this word, capability. You know, while you're in school, what are you doing? You're building capability. You're building capacity. And honestly speaking, the person who has the most of capability or capacity are usually the winner in any race. That's the difference between Lionel Messi or Ronaldo against Odion Igalo. Do you get it? So that is it. This topic is very appropriate for undergraduate students. It's a call to understand that for you to move much further in life, you have to emphasize on that word, capabilities. You have to build enormous capabilities at this time. You don't think about anything else. Just know that when you're studying sociology, try to be the best sociologist. You want to be an economist, try to be the best economist. And the beautiful thing about dream is that it has no limitation. Dream. Be the best you can be as you dream. Don't limit yourself. Do you understand that? And I am quite available for any person to talk to me, to approach me, to engage me concerning career direction and career purpose. Because a lot of the things you guys are enjoying, when I gained admission in 1989, these things were not there. Most of the people we had as lecturers then, we were quite afraid of them. We were quite afraid we couldn't, there was the kind of interaction you guys have nowadays, that's not what we had. You know, in those days, when my uncle says, Tony, how are you? I said, fine, thank you, sir. I was never in a position to say, and how are you too? But these days, my nephews and nieces, some people told me, how do you do? I said, fine, thank you. Yes. That's the reverse trend. But there's a beauty in it. It shows engagement. It shows, it reflects interaction. That's what we should be emphasizing. In those days, when I started banking as a career, I couldn't stand in the same car of a lift with a manager. These days, they won't tell the MD, come out quick, I'm in a hurry. And you get it. I mean, for me, things are much better than what it used to be because of, that engagement. and I hope you guys don't abuse it. So, he has said everything to say. Focus group, exploratory research, sample size. But usually when they come to me for interview, I usually ask them basic questions. Basic questions. I'll be like, what's ANOVA? Analysis of variance. And it's not always very impressive to see that these people stumble along the way. Do you get it? And they stumble along the way, and I'll be like, all whatsoever you study, whether in business, economics, finance, biology, anything, they are first and foremost English words. They have basic English meaning before they are translated into academic meaning. So if I were you in your position, the first thing I'll do when I get a new word is to first and foremost understand their basic meaning. And that provides a proper and appropriate foundation for further knowledge building. Do you get that? Yeah. So, back again to the topic, capabilities. Emphasize it as you grow. How strong, how capable I am. What is the extent of my capacity in relationship to what I am studying with what I am doing? That's a final statement from me. Thank you so much. Take care.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tony Munye. Before we go to the next one, I will want to call on Dr. Augustine Agugwa right now so that he can pick up on the panel discussion. Then we'll come back to everybody here knowing what is called ESOMAR in itself. We want to discuss with other discussants on things that concerns research and the market. So, Dr. Agugwa, please take us through the mic is right with you on the platform. Thank you very much, sir. You can handle the moderation.
Okay, Mr. Antoman, I think I have your permission to go ahead, right? Mr.
I am, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. They say the night is long that never finds the day. But when the day comes, all what that needs to be done has to be done. I'm here again to take on a very interesting but heavy responsibility. We have come, we have seen, we have heard, but just like Caesar will say, Bene, Bene, they see. The last part of it is that he had conquered. So I want my students to do what conquered. I appreciate the ESOMAR group. I appreciate Packet Trends International. I appreciate the director, research and advocacy of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industries. For your presence here, for your intentions and the desires towards my students. I remember the first time we were at your base, I made a request that 60 of my students will attend your program. I said no, they will occupy the whole space at the Oriental Hotel. You would rather make out time to come and talk to them. I do not in any way take that attitude for granted. I've come to actually feed them the way you noticed. But here, at this point of the panel, is for us to actually break those things down. And to join me on the panel, ladies, gentlemen, and good people, I would like you to welcome the head of the department of Sociology, the person of Dr. Michael. So, the next person that should also have been here to actually labor so much to make this possible, acting as our local organizing committee chairman, is Dr. Ayodele Chitu, and coordinator of the MTI program. But he will take your appreciation in absentia because currently he is unavoidably absent representing the university in another program, so he sends his goodwill. One way or the other, I'd like to chip in one or two things that ought to have come from him. So we go straight to welcome another very solid but highly cerebral academician from our midst, coming from the realm of the Faculty of the Management Sciences, in the person of Dr. Peter Opi of our welcome. Then, so when you travel one route, and that road is good, you like to travel it again. We have listened to the Executive Director, MTI. Yeah, movement and journey was good. We'd like to hear from you again, but this time from the group's perspective. So ladies, gentlemen, and good people, join me once again as I welcome back to the podium in the person of Mr. Victor Emmanuel. You're welcome. And for good reason, you know why he has to come again. My friend and colleague, your HOD, one of the people that has what might call the Levite bag, we know that sometimes when you attend the church, when a priest preaches, he don't ask questions. But when it's time for Bible studies, even the priest will be subjected to questions. Am I correct? The HOD? So that's why our friend has to come back here and perhaps answer to some issues that might be bugging your mind. So, we're going to take them on thematics. This part of the discussion will be so lengthy. It's going to be as brief as possible. We are going to just give them some basic topics. They speak to the topics, talk to them, and then if you have questions, right from the lecture and now from point of view of your own personal inclinations, we will now also ask them questions to respond. We are going to kickstart this discussion. It's not going to be another lecture, but each of them will have a minimum or maximum of 7 minutes to talk on any of the things we are going to address them on. Let us look at the centrality of research in all human activities. The centrality of what? Research in all human activities. There is a friend of mine there. When I was inviting him to this program, he started to say, sir, I'm in the Department of Engineering, Mechanical Engineering. What has marketing got to do with my field of study? I'm sure your HOD will be a bit advanced with that kind of attitude. I told him, even at the level of engineering, one of our foremost theorists in the field of sociology happened to be an engineer, an accomplished professor of engineering. We call him Roberto Michels. Having gotten to the summit of engineering, he felt that there was something missing, that engineering had to be marketed to the people from point of view of the needs of the people. That is the place and role of Roberto Michels. And in his work, he profoundly one of the most interesting theories as it has to do with governance and leadership. What you call what iron law of oligarchy. I hope my friend, you are listening to me. You are going to, because you are coming from the University of First Choice, the nation's pride. You are going to beat the record of Roberto Michels, even as an engineer. So, on this issue of centrality of research in all human activities, in the next 7 or so minutes, we are going to listen to Dr. Michael Kenichi. meet you, sir. God is your God.
Hello. Thank you, Dr. Gugwa, for the opportunity to be here. And I thank all the participants for taking time to be part of this. So the question is about the centrality of research in all human endeavors. And so I should quickly say that research has always been part of human life. It's not new. And like the previous speaker said, maybe what's new is technology. And then, so we could say in the last century, methodology, ideas have also changed significantly in terms of how we go about doing research. But it has always been part of the history of man. But today we are more intentional about being systematic in finding out. Research is essentially about finding things out, getting reliable information, getting information on which you can make decisions that will be reliable, decisions that you can rely on. So that's the idea. So research is systematic, and today we are intentional about getting reliable information. But even before our encounter, for instance, in Africa, with the West and the Western scientific methodology, we have always done research. Even in the family setting, research has always been part of us. And it's not only in Africa, all over the world, it's been like that. In the past, you would know that in fact, sometimes when a woman is pregnant, that was the practice then, it's still happening in some places. People want to find out, what will this child become? And why do they need that information? So that you will know how to bring up that kind of child. So it's important to find out, to get information. But of course, the way we go about it today is different. But we have always been interested in knowing. Man by nature is a researcher. We want to know. And so, but of course, the way we go about it can be different. Today we talk about the scientific method. In the past, people could say, visit a fortune teller, visit a prophet, but you need information. And that idea has not changed. The motivation for wanting to know has not changed. We want to be able to take good decisions. It's for that reason that people would want to know, what kind of child will this child become? In the past, if you wanted to get married, you would not just see maybe someone you think you like and go ahead to marry that person. Among the Yoruba people, for instance, the ideal thing is that your family will conduct a kind of research to find out, okay, so what kind of family is this person from? So it's not new, it's been with us. Whether you're talking about within the family setting, even if you talk about, say, the school setting, and it is not a mistake that you have the university, for instance, combining two major tasks: the task of doing research and the task of teaching. Okay, every properly constituted university has that responsibility of doing research and also the responsibility of teaching. Okay, and then the question is, why do we want to combine research and teaching? It is partly because we know that you can't have effective teaching without research, else you'll be teaching obsolete knowledge. So it is for that reason that your lecturers, all the lecturers in the university are expected to be researchers, so that they can do research, and from the product of their research, they can teach you not what they learned 20 years ago when they were students, but they can teach you what is contemporary. Okay, so away from the family, we're talking about the educational institution. Research is also central. The same thing with health. If, for instance, you are interested in knowing, maybe let us assume a new drug is to be introduced and you want to know whether that drug is efficacious, you need research to show that, oh yes, this treatment has efficacy, that other treatment is not efficacious. Okay, so in health, you also need research. Also, even if you have health innovations and you think, oh yes, this thing is efficacious, there is no assurance that there will be optimal uptake. People may choose, even when they hear that this particular treatment or this particular health innovation is efficacious, they may still choose to not use that service. And so as researchers, we want to find out why. What are the barriers? What are the things that determine whether people will use certain services or not? And the same thing applies whether you're talking about policy in the political space, in the states, whether you're talking about government, we also need research. Because for you to make policies that will work, you need research. And that's why we talk about evidence-based policy making. So if you're to make policies that will be effective in turning things around, it is important so that you base your decisions on evidence. So you may want to find out what exactly the problems are, and then what solutions will work. Okay, and all day we've been talking about market research. So in the economy also, research is very, very important. So all in all, there is no sphere of human life where research is not needed. I'll stop on that for now.
Thank you. Tremendous applause. I think we have good reasons for preparing and requesting Dr. Mike Kennedy to kickstart this discussion. And I'm really particularly enthused by the way and manner you went about it. It touches every aspect of what we do. Like when you treat it from point of view of, today we emphasize science, positivism and all whatnot, which is the hallmark of research. But I'm happy that he did not just take it from point of view of positivist orientation in knowledge. He also went back to the mundane. Some of you who did something in the area of elemental scientific thought, you will now discover, there are two dimensions to knowledge. One is scientific, the other is what? Ideological. Ideological from point of view of intuition, ideological from point of view of sense experience, ideological from point of view of even authority, faith, and all whatnot. These are areas of knowledge that we are actually prevalent at the earlier stage of human existence. And they serve their purposes, even in the realm of religion. That's why, for instance, when you say astrologers do not matter, one of the questions I used to ask my students in elements of scientific thought, which people were the first people that got to know about the existence of Jesus Christ? They say 3 wise men. The question is, who are these wise men? Are we communicating? Their language or their statements when they were in Jerusalem. Here is you are the born King of the Jews. For we have seen what? His star, and we have come to worship him. They we are what? Astrologers. Today, neither science nor religion recognize them, but these people play their role. I thank Mr. Hechuri, the way he took us from the mundane to the realistic. The implication of what he has just said is that even at the level of religion, if you are not scientific, you are your wayward out. Logical empiricism is the entry today. In the Bible, you will see logical empiricism demonstrated. Mr. Hechuri, I think you know more than us on that. Logical empiricism was demonstrated in the region of Mount Carmel. Very complicated. What did Elijah go there to do? When he said, knowledge is not anchored on what? Being systematic from point of view of science. What did they go there to do? Logical empiricism said that if the God you serve cannot answer your questions or address your problems practically, run away from such a God. Am I complicated? And Mr. Hechuri has done so well in putting us on that trail. One of the questions I would like you to ask, just use 30 seconds and summarize your presentation. They will move. If they have questions, just be writing down. You have time to relate with him. Mr. Hechuri, sir, how come that science has taken the center stage, yet at every realm of human existence, people still can't do without recourse to ideological roots, recourse to fetishism, recourse to ritualism, recourse to visiting Babalawo. Why is that still prevalent, Mr. Hechuri?
Thank you so much. I'm not sure I'm in a position to answer the question because I had to use any of those alternatives to the scientific method. But that also shows us that the scientific method is not a perfect method. It is the preferred method. It is a method that has worked in most circumstances, but it will not work in all circumstances. So it has its weaknesses, it has its limitations. And so when people get to that point where science cannot help them, they seek help elsewhere. Okay, so but if you have a scientific mind and you feel, if science can't solve my problem, then I stop. Then, well, yes, maybe you don't want to go any further. But if you have a very inquisitive mind and you feel that there must be an answer, then you keep searching until you find an answer. I'm happy any of you made reference to scriptures. You'll also remember Solomon. Solomon was very thirsty for knowledge. And Solomon also went into astrology for that sake. And he went into the worship of some other, yes, because he felt that there was still something he needed to know that he did not have answers to. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Hechuri. His answer has been very concise, very focused, and very elitist. All what he's trying to make us understand. That even though that which is empirical is good, sometimes in the school of realism they say that, just like Jesus said, it's good to see, but blessed are those who do not see and also the word believe. Abstract and whatever realism work hand in hand. So thank you, Mr. Hechuri. We'll go straight to the next one. As you are listening to them, you're jotting down your questions, you will have time to now engage them one-on-one. But let's go straight to, I'll say the third person, but the second person who is absent who have addressed us on the issue of understanding economic activities as imperative to human existence. That would have been Dr. Ayodele Shitu, the coordinator of our Masters in Public and International Affairs. Now, I will just say one or two things about this. Let's even take it from point of view of the Bible, where the Bible will tell you that money doeth what? Answereth all things. Am I communicating? Yes. If money answered all things, then it means that in all spheres of our existence and engagement, the issue of economic activities seems to be very, very central. That is why in the work of a man called Karl Marx, his approach to knowledge from point of view of political economy is the fact that at the end of the day, infrastructure determines and informs what they call superstructure. Infrastructure is the economy, what they call principles of economic determinism. And what is superstructure? Things like politics, things like religion, philosophy, just name it. But in all these things, he said that at the earlier phase of human knowledge, the society, in its understanding of human existence, was put upside down. Whereby ideals determines what happens to us. But in his own time, he felt that it's time for us to put history on its footing. Its proper footing is that economy determines, economy informs everything. When I discuss this kind of thing with my students, we get to the point of saying that even from point of view of your prophets, if you are going to a prophet who will see visions for you, don't go to a prophet that is hungry. I'm very complicated. Because you will end up seeing visions of what? Witches and wizards running after you. But if you go to a well-fed and highly balanced prophet, the law of Abraham Maslow will come into play. Abraham Maslow is a very humanistic to fight. And surreptitiously, he told the line of Karl Marx, when you put physiological needs at the base, like your food, your clothing, your house, and all whatnot, those are physiological needs, including sexual drives, light, and all air. See, all those things must be there before you start talking about the next level. Which was the next level? Security. We talk about security before you start looking around to know that there is executive director in the department. And right there is demand from what do you call it? Faculty of this and that. And right there is our HOD. Before you start recognizing them, one person was making a joke of it. There was this, who was that with big prophet in their Bible? Said that when God, after 40 days fasting, God asked him to look, and he looked. What are you seeing? He said, I was seeing trees. So God asked him to go and come back. Somebody was making a joke of it. He said that when he left God and went to his abode, he went to take his bath, took his meal, and came back to God. Now God asked him, look again, what are you seeing? Say, sorry, I'm seeing a host of soldiers. Am I communicating? Anyone is here? Did not take your dinner that night? Did not take your breakfast? Whatever you are hearing from this side of the divine now will be like what for go loud sounding words, symbols. I'm making noise. When we listen and let me go and do what? Feel my stomach. That is the centrality of economic activity. So after that, you now see, after affiliation, you now start talking about esteem. Who are you to esteem yourself when you are very hungry, poor and wretched? They are very complicated. Yes, it's when you are well fed and you now look back. If the worst comes to the worst, I have 10 million naira in my account, you can talk boldly. Then that is the time you start. There's a friend of mine who called me and said, Dr. Agugu, he did his master's. I mentioned him now, my HOD here, we know him. That he has a mind to go and do something more spectacular in his life. So yeah, so the way things are going, even if he wants to invest, he can afford to invest 20 million. Let him just go and do something outside. I say, you? He said, yes, sir. I want to invest 20 million. And I could remember when he was with us in Department of Sociology. He said that so that he can start mingling in certain circles alongside his word, expectations and aspirations in life. This is what we call self-actualization. That's what he's aspiring after now. Abraham Maslow will tell you that the first three needs, physiological, security, and affiliation, are primary. Though some people will limit it to the first two. Then esteem and self-actualization are what? Secondary. And how did he conclude it? He says secondary needs do not arise until primary needs are what? Satisfied. This is one area of the centrality of economic activities in whatever you do, whatever you aspire. Man do not live by bread alone, the Bible will say. But what's the implication of that statement? You cannot also do without it. Am I communicating? That's why if you remember our CRK very well, at the point when Jesus Christ was teaching, he would have said, let me fill their stomachs with what? Miracle. He did not. He was filled with compassion. Then the next thing he said, these people are what? Fainting. Let us do something. Sometimes we can be overzealous. Even his disciples were even, we are expect us to do anything about it. That is so bad. Zealotry in religion, and it happens to most of us today. That in your overzealous in religion, you do not take into consideration the basic needs of the people. This is what we call social ministry of Jesus Christ. In every aspect of our lives, Karma's view, principles of economic determinism were very important. But why I'm laying this foundation is that while you are working on this year economic principles, the most important thing, just like Napoleon would say, the most important thing about life is what? The presence of toil. That's the thing that confuses and convinces human beings more than any other thing. Has to do with the principles of what? Toil. This is where we now enter into the realm of marketing. No matter how good your skills are, you don't know how to market yourself, no person will do it for you. Your economic strength must have a reach out to the market. So that time, ladies and gentlemen, and good people, we now move straight to the third person, believing that you have gotten a little insight as to what Dr. Shitu will have said to us. We now go on to the third theme of our panel discussion today. We'll be looking at an appraisal of the importance of creativity and innovation in human survival. What we call what? The marketing skills imperative. Let me repeat it again. An appraisal of the importance of creativity and innovation in human survival. The marketing skills imperative. And to elucidate this fact for us, we now invite our colleague from the Faculty of the Management Sciences in the person of Dr. Peter Obi Obara. A round of applause for him.
Thank you again. I want to stand on the existing protocol and to join my voice to the voices that have already appreciated our chairman and the marketing research, market trends international.
Yeah.
I want to appreciate you and I want to appreciate all the organizers of this event. And I wonder, why is it that those who engage in so much research, when you have done, they call you, they give you an award and say Master of, or rather, PhD, Doctor of Philosophy. When you engage in some level of design, they say Master of Philosophy. Why? I will disappoint you because I don't even have the correct answer. That they are a philosopher. But I think it's because philosophy and research are related. I think it's because those, in fact, we used to joke when I was undergraduate, we said that the easiest way to be a philosopher is to marry a nagging wife. Because you'll be forced to think, why should human beings behave like this? Why should you love somebody so much and he hates you so much? Why should you provide for somebody and he doesn't appreciate it? And you are philosophizing. You are forced to think. And when you think and bring out all the thoughts, summon your faculties and bring out decisions based on that, you are philosophizing at first. But research is almost the same. But research is not summoning your own faculties. It's not going inside you. They are going outside you. You are trying in philosophy, you are trying to bring in what you have accumulated over time and has deposited inside you. And you summon them towards making a decision. In research,
You are going outside you to bring it all those things that are, and then use it to make a decision. But what is the end? The end is quality decision making. The difference between success and failure. The difference between whether you die or whether you live, whether you are alive or whether you are dead. The difference between whether a company thrives or sinks is in the quality of decisions. Every outcome is the product of a series of decisions. But if we want a good outcome, that means we must have quality decision. But quality decision in itself depends on quality information. And the information depends on data that is properly processed. It's when you gather data. So the quality of information depends on the quality of data and the quality of processing. Just like our students here. What you become depends on two things. What is your quality of intake? Those who will take into the faculty of social sciences, into economics, into sociology. When you are coming, are you even quality? And then, because the university education is one that turns raw human materials into usable human capital. We as lecturers and other things that are there, whether teaching aids, laboratory and all that, we are going through processing, and at the end of the day, whatever. So, what I'm talking about is that, look, decision making is what determines outcome. If you are going to be a central bank governor, if you are going to be another Florence Nightingale, if you are going to be another Dangote, it will depend on the decisions you have made going forward. But it's not just good that you have good quality products. How far we go also depends on the marketing decisions you have made, including the marketing methods that you have adopted. Because we market in every sphere of life. Don't make mistake about it. In fact, some of you who will graduate very soon, the first major decision you may have, apart from marketing your skills, in fact, I tell people that the two most important decisions you will take in life is choosing a life partner and choosing a career path. And in both of them, you have to do serious marketing. When I married my wife, I did super marketing to every targeted person who was interested in influencing her whether to say yes or to say no. I didn't just yes. You have to look at it. Because afterwards, you become also the major marketer of your spouse in the family in your own family, and it becomes the major marketer of you as an individual in his own family. Marketing is continuous. And therefore, we have to bring creativity into it. It's not one size fits all. And that's why you need to research. I will tell you a little story how my daughter marketed to me about her spouse. My daughter knew I'm a staunch Catholic. And she probably felt I would support somebody who is not a Catholic. He wrote to me, he didn't talk to me in the house. Probably because he knew me. He wrote a very long letter. Sent it to my email. Making all kind of appeals. Reminding me how much I believe in her happiness. Remind me who she thinks I am and what I will not approve. But then, of course, then it came down to, if you do this for me, I can assure you, and all those things. And of course, how did I say it? Initially, I wanted to be angry. I couldn't really sit me down at home and talk. But I got to okay. Do you know that if you are talking at home, probably you would have given me time to say all this things I said in the letter, in the long episode that she wrote. Of course, I became more sober. I became more. We discussed, and of course, I gave in to what. But probably I had more time to appraise it. She did a research. She wanted to know who she's talking to. Our guy here and Dr. Moyen, he said that look, this is an age where we have crushed and compressed. There is no more power distance. Well, there is still power distance, but the power distance is narrowing. And to be honest, it's a good thing. In those days where you cannot even as much as tell your father what you feel, tell your mother what you feel, tell even your lecturer what you feel, it wasn't good for learning. That was the time of, when it was teaching, it is tutor-focused learning. I come to class, it's only what I know. I'm the only person who knows it. Who do you know? I have taught this course for 25 years, for 35 years. Who are you to? But you don't know that small girl there where they have more better updated information. And you kill yourself trying to impress her. When you could have done that, please come up and say, what do you think about this matter? And everybody learns from it. That time has gone. And it should go for proper learning to take place in our institutions. But it will only go when you recognize there are people who don't know that the trends have changed, things have changed. People you think that we are babies, you still treat them as babies. You don't even know that they've acquired so much knowledge. It is research that will help you find that out. You will think that people still like, people appreciate, people still like, what do you call it? The people are still dancing to disco. You don't know they have come to R&B. And you'll be acquiring, getting those things and stopping them. You will think that people, what people do one, and they're still, Blackberry. No, it was Blackberry. When you buy Blackberry, you're a big man. You don't know that people no longer use it. You buy it for your daughter. I don't know, so what is this? Because you need to research. You need to market. If you want to market, and then you need to sell things to people. You have to sell the idea. There's something I say. Even when I was, before I joined the university, I had an accounting firm. I have a consulting firm, Liverpool Consult Limited. It wasn't big, it wasn't so big. We call it man must work. I was still at man must work level. But even with your man must work level, that means you are going, what will separate you, what will make somebody to take your word rather than another is marketing. And for you to market and market successfully, you must also do research. You have to understand where people are. You have to understand what they know. There was one person, in the process of making research, I noticed that when I started as an undergraduate, when I finished, I just graduated before my new service. I was doing banking relations. In those days there was manual. So what I do is that I check the account. That was the first practice I started. I come and get your bank statements, take it, recalculate compute your interest, and know whether to. But you know what? I know I can't beat the big people like that. What did I do? I structured my fees into fixed and variable components. Pay me 5,000 naira per annum as a retainer. And then whatever I recover from bank, you give me 20% or 10%. And you won't believe it. As of 1992, I got 200,000 naira because I recovered 2 million naira. How did I know? I can't compete with the big guys that have been there. I now see the research. I know that people will say, look, okay, if it is just 5,000 naira, 5,000 naira is maybe 500 naira, it's over 500 naira. They can easily give it to you. So that one helps me to take transport. And I can be prosperous. So you now do it. So you structure your service based on how understanding of your market. And when you know that, I don't know how many minutes I have to, so when you understand, so that research is important. There is need for innovation, there is need for creativity, but there is need for you to bring in something that is new, and you have to go there. Yes, our lecturer, our presenter said we have to be structured. Sometimes we may need to adjust the structure. Are you with me? You know, it's not only until, but then what it means is that I told you that there's something, the relationship between philosophy and research. Both of them involve getting, one means that you go inside you and break down what is inside you. The other one means that you take, and then, in fact, it's recommended that you take both, because even when you gather from outside, you now bring it in and you take what is inside you to mold it and make it a decision. Thank you.
I think this interaction is getting more engaging, more interesting, and highly reasonably captivated. I like it. Initially, we didn't think about it this way, but I come to realize the substance of matching reality with what philosophy. Like the way you started. And some of you will enjoy the idea of getting married to a bad wife. That could be, it is contextual. The man called Socrates, the father of philosophy, had a similar experience. All of you know Socrates. So one of his major hallmarks was that he married a bad wife. So the wife was so bad that all of you know what Greece is like. Greece of today, not less of that time. The wife was always looking for what to do to make Socrates angry. So one day she woke up and saw the man covered with very thick clothing and was shivering under the cover of the doorway. And something now occurred to her. Go and take cool water and pour on him while he was sleeping. And that's exactly what she did. Went and carried a pocket of cold water in the heat of Hamatan of our own side and poured it on Socrates. The thing jacks Socrates out of sleep. And by the time he now looked up, he saw the wife grinning over him. He simply smiled. After thunder comes rain. Am I complicated? The wife was confused and ran out of the house. His students knew that he was married to a bad wife. That day when he went to the class, one of the students confronted him. Sir, we are afraid of the future. I want to find out from you, sir. What does it take to be married to a bad wife? You know, sometimes students are wonderful answers, but they can also be positively mischievous. I want to know what it takes to be married to a bad wife. They said, yes, sir. So if you marry a bad wife, you will become a philosopher. Am I complicated? So that's why I said that what OP said is contextual and it is historically rooted. And he now moved from philosophy to the reality of life. And I will sum it up with what happens somewhere in desert. The desert man, don't bother. I'm not making joke of anything. So there was this man who was spoiling you to the same with alcohol. So one day, one priest said, I need to do something about this. Before this man destroy you with alcohol. So you organize a meeting like this, ask everyone to come. That as they gathered, there was alcohol and there was water. He picked one worm and put it inside the water. The alcohol, the worm was there, wriggling, dancing. Now he picked the worm from the water and put it in the alcohol. All of a sudden, the worm died. The priest then said, my people, you have seen it. But before they could react, that's creativity and innovation. the alcohol seller that jumped up. Initially, I thought the priest was my enemy. I didn't know that he's my friend. Do you know what the priest has said to you now? If you drink alcohol, you will never have warm in your stomach again. And before the priest could react, the people started jumping. Drink alcohol, no warm. Drink alcohol. And all of them went in place. Everyone was confused. That was creativity and innovation. And it's not within the confines of this classroom. We are going to take it to the global level. That's the way the world is going. And that will be the next theme of our discourse. Thereby, yes, our young executive director has taken us on what I may call an academic train on marketing and research as a career path. But when I want to link it to the way the world is going, from point of view of globalization, the man called Waters will tell you that globalization is a trend in which the constraints of geography, of political, economic, social, and every aspect of human activity, the constraints seems to be breaking down. People are aware that they are breaking down. And people are reacting accordingly. And globalization is such that if you have skill to face these challenges, it will reward you. But if you don't have the skill, it will penalize you. On that note, ladies, gentlemen, and good people, we are going to listen once again to the Executive Director of MTI and the person of Mr. Victor, who will now take us on the dynamics of current global vocational trends and the imperatives of marrying town and gown. Mr. Victor,
Thank you, Prof. I'll make it short because I'm hungry. So, but before I go into my question, or before I answer the question, I have to say, let's applaud the lecturers once again. Yes, because seeing Dr. Peter and Dr. Michael speak, I know that lecturing is not easy. Yes, because when I was lecturing, I saw people leaving. Immediately the lecturer started, I saw them walking in. I said, what magic are they doing? Should I give them the mic? They should continue talking. So I know to lecture is not an easy feat at all. Well done, my doctors. So going to the topic of the trend of the day, I think before I can elaborate on the trend of today, I have to take us back to the Stone Age, how research used to be done before. So research used to be very traditional in the sense that we collect the information. So I like to be practical and I like to be visual. So let's say, for instance, now we used to collect survey. We spoke about the qualitative and the quantitative. So the quantitative aspects, where you collect survey, you go to collect surveys from 1,000 people. So the way we used to do it before, back in the days, was we do paper and pen. So we have paper and pen, we come to you, we collect the information from you. Then we now have a set of people who now do data entry of that information into the system. So it used to be a very cumbersome work. So imagine if you are doing 1,000 sample size now, then you now have people transferring data into the computer. It's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of time. So if you have 1,000 samples, you need like 50 people to be able to transfer the information to the system. But with the advancement of technology today, all that has been erased because of the tablet. So once you collect the information from the tablet, it goes straight into the data. So you don't need to do data entry again. So that process has been eliminated. So that's how data used to be collected when we originally started. So to do data collection back in the days, you need like 50 people or 60 people to be able to do the data entry from the paper into the system. But all that has been taken away. What 60 people used to do before, now 2 or 3 people can get it done. That's the advancement of technology. So that is for the quantitative aspects of it. But when it comes to the qualitative aspect of as well, I did mention online IDIs and online focus group. So the way we used to do IDIs before was we would go, we would recruit you, then we'd come to your location. to do the interview. So maybe we'll come to your house, or we come and meet you in your office, and we do the interview on a one-on-one basis. But now, because of the advancement of technology, I don't even think there's any research agency that does IDI face-to-face anymore. It doesn't happen. Like, they already do it. So what they do is they recruit you, then they get you on Zoom to come and do the interviews on Zoom. So that has eliminated the transportation fee, the stress of having to come to your house, all that has been taken away. The same thing with IDI as well. Now you can also do IDIs on the phone. Clients allow you to do IDIs on the phone now. You can call somebody and do an interview over the phone. So I know I'm not a lecturer, but I'm a technical person. So a lot of the things I say are very technical, how business is being done. So I come from a more professional standpoint of how it's being done in the market today. So all that, the advancement of technology has made it easier for us to be able to collect our information over time. Something that would take you 2 weeks or a month to do before can now take you 2 to 3 days with the same technique. So it has made things easier. And where we are now, as of today, as I speak to you, is artificial intelligence. And I believe at the course of my presentation, I did mention all these things. I mentioned all of it. But I'm just summing it up for you now in one topic called the globalization of the market trends, right? The trends in the market. So, but it was all said. Everything I said now is what I said in my lecture. So artificial intelligence is where we are today. There are a lot of artificial intelligence softwares that are not available in the Nigerian market now, because you know Nigerians were always backwards when it comes to technology. We're like 50 years back when it comes to what the Europeans are doing. So, but now, the best technology that we have for market research in Nigeria at the moment is the ChatGPT. Yes? So with ChatGPT now, it has made research easier to do. You know, you can conversate. If you know, the ones who know how to use ChatGPT here, you know ChatGPT is just like your assistant, like your office assistant. You can speak to it and say, look, I want you to help me today to do this. I need to help you whichever angle you want it to help you to. So, and that is where research is going to today. It's being simplified more and more. And it is looking like the human part of it is being eliminated as we are going very technical, or when technologies are coming out, the human aspect is being eliminated. So you as a human being now have to improve your skills. Like a lot of researchers now in the industry don't know how to use ChatGPT. But if you don't know, I'm sure that within 5 to 10 years, if you don't know how to use ChatGPT and you call yourself a market researcher, you probably will not exist in the industry. So that is the trend. So I've taken you to where we were before, where we came to, and where we are now. Artificial intelligence is where we are now. And to marry it together, you have to make sure that the skill set, you learn the new skill set that is needed for the market research market of today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, our able executive director.
Now, gradually, we can rightly say to ourselves that we have come, we have seen, and it's that we are almost a concrete. Am I communicating? And then the day we see, just like we have said, all what this is all about is the need for the expansion of what? The coast of knowledge. It was there in the beginning, it's here with us, it's going to be like that forever. That the more expansive the scope of knowledge is, the more progressive a society should be. Even at the mundane level. What makes you a preacher and a good one is not the anointing. What makes you a good preacher is not the anointing. And the Bible says so. I hope I'm not putting it out of context. Right? When we are meant to understand how did Paul put it, says, study to show yourself approved. A man of God that needs not to be what? Ashamed in dividing the truth. It's all about knowledge. For you to be even at the level of being an anointed man of God. What the Bible says, study, research. And that's what puts Paul, who did not see Jesus Christ, ahead of all other apostles of Jesus Christ. Study. research and expansivity, and trying to go with the trends. That is what globalization is all about. All of us are here. Not up to 80% of us have been to America, but America has been to all of us. Am I communicating?
America has been to us. My friend, yeah, you're hearing me, right? Yeah, sure. So, in the arena of creativity and innovation, what the Western world has actually used to put themselves ahead of us is this attitude towards knowing that was why we are here watching the Vanessa. While Lazim and Tom will go back, came here and discovered the Vanessa for us. How complicated it is. Because we are watching it. So, in the history of Europe, there was this, I think it was a who made a script about man called Isaac Newton. These are the people that took it upon themselves.
Let us die, but we must expand the scope of what? Knowledge. Because that time, if you say anything against what the Bible says or the transcript, they will burn you. Say, I'd rather be burnt, but I must investigate. Enlightenment, Renaissance, these are periods where people said we must investigate and now set the course on what you might call a new trajectory in human development. Who wrote a script for Newton in that place? Nature and nature's world lay hid in darkness. And God said, let Newton be, and all was light. Am I communicating? It's dedicated to Elizabeth. Where was it coming from? From the Bible, from Genesis. So, at the end of the day, knowledge is the key to all things. We have come, we have seen, we have heard. All what we need to do now is to do what? Go out there and do what? Implement it. On that note, ladies, gentlemen, and good people, they say to end a setting is not to die, it's just an indication that it's always an into something good. I thank my wonderful panelists. It's been an awesome time. So let's appreciate it. So we have just 2 stages of events to round up this program. One, they need to send a report to their home office. Their home office is not Nigeria. They are here being champions in Nigeria, but they are actually anchored from New York. That is the ESOMAR group. So they need to send a report on what happened here today. And thank God for the Lagos Chamber of Commerce. So, our Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry man has also taken notes. Don't bother about our crowd today. People came in what I may describe as an inauspicious time in the history of the University of Lagos. Teachers and lecturers have drawn right, left, and center. I commend my HU itself because he's also supposed to be making a presentation in one other international program somewhere near Faculty of Design. But he said he must sacrifice time to be here. Our students, we are also constrained. So this is just for the LCCI man to take note that there's nothing to fear about the crowd. Yeah, it has to do with crowd. University of Lagos has it more than any other university. Like I said, there are 2 or 3 other programs, but they'll be taken in very short drives. One, they will now come and, for this age, I keep on talking about them. When we had the first outing at Oriental Hotel, yes, I made them to understand that what people are doing out there, students need it more. Because right here in their midst, you have executive directors in their own right. Even though here they might be wearing the garb of students, they need to benefit from what people are doing there. So they have a little link down here, and from there the tap root is actually embedded. They grow into the larger room and give you the branches you need. That's one side. Then after that introduction, we are going to have a group photograph for those of us who are here now. That will be part of the report they might really need to send. And then whatever other things that has to do with networking, they might need to actually put it into part of the program. So on this note, ladies, gentlemen, and good, I will now invite the anchor person, our lion in the field in the person of Mr. Lionel to take off from.
Let's give a round of applause to the panel. The paparazzi. Picture. Okay. I want the mic, Mr. Victor, to talk to us about what ESOMAR is all about. And right after that, he's going to mention how to register to ESOMAR group. So, Mr. Victor, let's do that.
Thank you, Leonard. So, not to take too much of your time, as I did say I was hungry. So, I just want to do a brief introduction of ESOMAR, what ESOMAR is about, how to register, the benefits you can get to be an ESOMAR member, and that is it. So, quickly, before we get into the ESOMAR, this is international market research. So when you're doing research internationally, you have to understand that what happens in Nigeria is different from what happens in UK. So what that means is the way you do research in Nigeria different from the way you do research in UK. So move forward. Move forward, please. Jenna, move forward. Let's wrap it up quickly. Okay, so international research is the same thing he's saying here. So he's saying with globalization, so it depends on the country you are in. Cultural differences determines the type of research you do or determines how you speak to the people in the country. Just a brief example, if you are in the north, for instance, you know that the ladies in the north have to cover their head, right? So the way you speak to ladies who cover their hair is different from the way you speak to those who don't. Vice versa. Like in the north, a man can keep like 5 or 6 wives in one house, in different blocks of the house. As a man, you are not allowed to enter the house. They might cut your hand, Sharia, as you enter. Real, no joke. I've seen it before. Not cutting the hand, but a man having 6 wives. So, but if you are a woman, they will let you get into the house. So that is what we mean here, cultural differences. So move straight.
So some people have filled the form. Now that you've been told what ESOMAR is, you may also, before you go, you may also like to put down your name on a form designed. If you need more information, then we get back to the email there. We are going. Oh, you just okay. So what he's saying is that as you go out, your name is there. If you are interested, just stick it. That will give us an idea you are interested. We are going to communicate with you, send you a standard form, which you will fill with your picture. That is what we are going to send to our headquarters. Any question before I close? Are you happy? Yes?
I would like to ask, is it free of charge or there is a price attached to it?
Sorry?
Is it free or there is a price attached to being a member of ESOMAR?
Oh, okay, yes. It's just €100 per annum. The benefit will be there. All right? Reference point for you that I was in this, I was in this conference. This is why I want to be a researcher. So it's nothing for nothing. In Sierra Leone, no freedom. All right? Thank you very much for coming.
Very much, sir. We really appreciate everything that you've done to make today what we have. So right about now, we are supposed to take a picture, group picture. So I would want everybody to come with promise here. So possibly, or which one works for us? Is everybody okay, sir? Mr. Victor, should we use outside instead? Okay, before we want to have this banner. Okay, please come up. As you are coming up. Yeah. Ooh. I'm hearing something delicious. I believe please, let's start coming out. I would like to give you my information as we're coming out.
Please let me close that door. Everybody should go out. Picture. So there is another event coming up on the 30th of this month, right in this hall. It's called the Lagos Business. Please, let's start coming. Just be hearing as you're coming. It's themed the Lagos Business and the laws, the policies that affect. Yeah, please, students, come on. Don't worry. I'm going to go downstairs to arrange. I was saying on the 30th of this month, another event is coming up here called the Lagos Business and Policy Summit. As you are coming,